Hello fellow music makers, this is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music, and in this video we're going to get into Orchestral Tools Harps, Symphonic Harps. So we'll start out with the individual articulations, but before we do that, let's take a look at the way the folder structure is set up. We have the instruments broken down into multi-articulations, single articulations, and time machine patches. The multi-articulations, we have two harps. So you have multis for harp 1, which you have a general multi, then you have glissando major, glissando minor, pentatonic, diminished, and whole tone glissandos. And for harp 2, you have the same structure. You have the multi, the glissando major, minor, pentatonic, diminished, and whole tone. And your single articulations are more plentiful and more detailed. And you have many articulations that are not included in the multis. You have and we're going to get into these individually right now. So on a articulation by articulation basis. So we'll start with the individual articulations since there are more of those. And harp 2 and harp 1 are similar. Harp 2 is has a little more volume. So the first articulation we're looking at is the harp 2 sustained true pedal patch, which is right here, true pedal control. Now, what's unique about this is you have just the white notes, because the black notes don't sound, but the advantage to that is you can do glissandos and you can configure the pedals of the harp any way you want. So for example, we have D, C, and B, and if I click on if I actually activate the key switches down here, which are actually a little lower than A0. They're actually, the first one is right here, and it's off the screen because it's actually C0. And the keyboard display is going as low as A0. So if you'll notice as I press C0, that the pedal is changing from D to D sharp to D flat. And if I go up to C sharp 0, you'll notice the second pedal is going now C flat. It was at C, C sharp, C flat, and so on. So we can tune the harp using these pedals, which is the way the harp actually works. It has these 7 pedals. And as we go up chromatically, starting from C0, then you'll notice over here we're at E sharp, E flat, and E. And then if I go chromatically up to actually E0, then we're at F sharp, F flat, and then back to F. And then the same's true for the G. We're at G sharp now, G flat, and then back to G. So it cycles through, and then here's A sharp, A flat, and A. So I'm using keys that you can see on the video. You can't really see on the MIDI screen here, the keyboard. So now they have presets. Preset 1 is really the C scale. Preset 2, if I click on that, notice that everything's the same except we went to an F sharp. And if you're familiar with your key signatures, you know that if you have 1 sharp, then you're in the key of G. So if I start at G, I play a G scale, all on the white keys. And so if you do a glissando, it's real easy to do because you don't have to involve any black keys. Now if I go to preset 3, notice we have the F sharp and the C sharp, and that would be the key of D because the key of D has 2 sharps. So if I start anywhere on D, I get a D scale, and I can do D glissandos, all on the white keys. And preset 4, all of a sudden we have 3 sharps, and so that would be the key of A, because the key of A has 3 sharps and so on. And if you go to preset 5, all of a sudden you have 1, 2, 3, 4 sharps, so that would be the key of E. And you're not limited to these presets. You can use any of the configurations that we were looking at before. For example, if I go, well, let's continue on with the presets. Preset 6, okay, we have 1, 2, okay, well there's preset 5. 6 looks the same. Okay, I think 6 is supposed to be 1 flat. There it is, 1 flat. So that puts you in the key of F, because F has just 1 flat. And then preset 7, we have 2 flats, so that would be B flat. See, because this B is now B flat because it's being flatted. And E is actually E flat because it's being flatted here. And then preset 9, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 flats. Actually, I guess I skipped 8. So 8 has 3 flats. So that would be, let's see, one way to tell your flats, if you go down a fifth, you go F has 1 flat, go down a fifth, and then B flat has 2, go up a fifth, or sorry, go up a fourth or down a fifth, and then E flat would be your 3 flats. And then that was preset 9. And then preset 10 is 1, 2, 3, 4 flats. So that would be A flat. I guess not. Oh, it's 5 flats. Okay, so that would be D flat. Preset 9 has 4 flats, so that should be A. So you have all these presets, which gives you flats and sharps, so you can do glissandos and major keys, but you can easily change that to minor keys, because if I go back to preset 1, which resets everything back to all the white keys, which is basically A, or you could think of it as A minor, because A minor has no sharps or flats. Or you could think of it as D Dorian. But anyway, let's not get too much into theory. We want to go through the libraries and the patches. And so the point is, with these pedals, you can change your sharps and flats to any of the keys. So basically, you've got B or D, C, and B. So those can be sharped or flatted. And E, F, G, and A can be sharped or flatted. So you can get any scale you want, because you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 keys, right? Going from C to B, and you can sharp or flat any of them. And so you can get any scale you want. And then you can do glissandos on it. So the next preset we have is the harp 2 with the portato true pedal. Now, anytime it says true pedal control, then you have your 7 pedals, and that can be sharped or flatted, each one of those. So here's the portato patch. And then the next one down is the staccato true pedal. So again, with all these true pedals, you're just going to get the white keys. The black keys won't sound. And then we have sustained chromatic. Now with sustained chromatic, you can use the black keys. Right now I have my keyboard transposed down an octave, so I'm transposing back. I did that to hit the key switches. Whoops. So there's your chromatic, and then we have the potato chromatic. And of course you have your ranges going all the way up to G7, and then all the way down to there's C2, there's C1. And as we continue on, we have staccato chromatic. And then we have, sounds like flageolet. So harmonics. Looks like the low note is F3. And the high note is D7 for the flageolet. And then the next patch we have in the harps too. Remember the harps one has the same patch. It's just a different harp, but sounds very similar. So here's the Près de la table. And then we have the Bispigliando. I think I'm mispronouncing that. Then we have playable glissandi. And again, it's just the white keys. So here's your one. So it also has the true pedal controls, so you can adjust your pedals the way we did before, either with key switches or, well, basically with the key switches, or you can I guess it's really limiting me to key switches, so I'll go back to preset 0. So let's go to our next patch. So this is the glissandi chromatic. So if in your sequencer you want to do a glissandi kind of chromatic patch, you could do it with this particular patch. Now, in this patch, we have let's go to the interface. We're actually switching. Here we go. So this is the harp to glissandi major up. So I can go D, E flat, F, G. So you can get all of the chromatic notes. And then the next patch we have is a major down. And you can go through all the chromatic notes there. The next patch we have is glissandi major 2 octaves up. The next patch after that is the glissandi 2 major down. So we have a variety of glissandi. The next patch we have is 4 octaves up. And then our next patch, we're going to go to a new instance. So we have the 4 octaves down, glissandi. And then we have the harp to glissandi major fast down. And then we have the glissandi minor up. And then we have the glissandi minor down. And then we have 2 octave up, minor. And then 2 octaves down, minor. Then we go up to 4 octaves up. And then here we have 4 octaves down. Now we have glissandi minor fast down. Glissandi pentatonic, 1 octave. Glissandi pentatonic going down. That's the first one was up. Then we have to wait for the beach ball. So now we have 2 octaves up, 2 octaves down, 4 octaves up, pentatonic, and 4 octaves down, pentatonic. Then we have pentatonic fast, going down. And then we'll go to another interface. So now we have glissandi diminished. Doesn't sound like glissandi diminished. Here we go. There's your glissandi diminished. So 12 of those. And then we have diminish 1 time. And then diminish 2 octaves. Diminish 2 octaves going down. Diminish 4 octaves, going up and going down. And then we have whole tone after the diminished. Actually, guess we had one more diminished left. So here's our whole tone, 1 octave. And there's just 2 of those because There are only two real scales, two starting notes, and you get two scales. Whole tone going down. It's right there. And then we have whole tone 2 octaves going up. Whole tone 2 octaves going down. Whole tone 4 octaves going up. And whole tone 4 octaves going down. Then we have whole tone fast. Now, and that's basically all of your single articulations. So just to show you what the multis look like, which really contain the singles, or some of the singles, a very small number of the singles, as you'll see. So here we have our harp 1 multi, and this will also give you an idea between harp 1 and harp 2. So here's harp 1 sustain, and here's harp 2 same patch. Harp 1. And so you see you have the sustain, playable glissandi, so it's chromatic, staccato, chromatic, and then portato, chromatic, flageolet, chromatic, preditable, chromatic. Then the unpronounceable for me right now. And then we have the same exact patches in the harp 2. The harp 2 is a little brighter, has a little more volume going for it. Then you have the harp 2 glissandi multi. So the rest I'm just doing with harp 2 because it has a little bigger. And these are just the glissando patches that we looked at in the individual. So you have the harp 2 gliss, major 1 octave down, major 2 octaves up, and so on. And then here's your major 2 octave down. So you have a little icon so you can see what it is. But you have more control over the individual patches because you have the total control pedals on a lot of the individual patches, which you don't have in the multis. And then you have the minor multi patch. Let's take a look at that, see how it's set up. So there you see you have the glissandos going up and going down. It's like here's a 4 octave up. There's a 4 octave down. There's your glissando, minor fast down, which we looked at in the individual. Then you have the pentatonic multi, which contains some of your pentatonics, and your diminish, which contains some of your diminished. Let's look at it since we're just about through the rest of them. So here's your pentatonic. So there's your gliss pentatonic up 1 octave, down 1 octave, up 2, down 2, up 4, down 4, and then your fast down. And then you have your diminished multi. So as you can see, you have your 1 octave up, 1 octave down, then 2 octaves, 3 octaves, then finally your fast down. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the glissandi patches for the, quite a few of them, but you do have more control over the individuals as a rule. And then here's the whole tone setup. So they all look very similar. So again, you have your 1 octaves, 2 octaves, 4 octaves. So there's your 4. which we listened to before. Now, there's one last thing I wanted to say. One of the things that I noticed about the library is the sustain pedal doesn't seem to have much of an effect. And here's the VSL harp, which I used for a comparison with the sustain pedal. So if I use the sustain pedal, notice the difference. Here's the sustain on, which you can see right here. It holds it out. Still fading out. Without it. And the other thing, if I hold the notes down, it sustains it, which is basically what the sustain pedal is supposed to do. Now, if you go to the Orchestral Tools Harps, notice what happens. This is the normal patch. So it has a shorter decay. And if I hold the sustain pedal down, which I'm doing right now, it doesn't sustain quite as long. Not a major problem, but now. And the other thing is if you here's the other one. So one thing I did notice is it was harder to sustain the orchestral tools, and the VSL had a better sustain capability. And I'm sure Orchestral Tools will probably adjust that in their next release. So that the sustain pedal actually has more of an effect, assuming it has any effect. So here's your VSL, sustaining with the pedal. Still going. Okay, now here's your orchestral tools. Not quite a long, I guess maybe it's a subtle difference, but it was something that I noticed. So this is Bill McFadden. If you like this video, please click like. If you wish to be notified of upcoming videos, then please subscribe. One of the next videos that will be coming up shortly is on the new VSL String 1 effects, which looks like an amazing special effects library for strings. So Bill McFadden signing off from Tone Pure Music.